So this is the installation guide for the Underhood Baja Designs light kit for the WRX, which you can see here. This is going to be a quick install video. It's only going to take probably 10 minutes or less. And this is what's going to come in your kit. So you're going to get the mount with the Baja Designs light already installed with the switch. It's going to be screwed in so you don't have to do anything there. And it's going to come pre-wired to your leads. So this is your wiring harness. Now the one in the final kit is going to be shielded. It's not going to be split wires like this. You're going to have a nice sheath throughout the whole thing. You're going to have nice terminated shrink wrap butt connectors. So it's going to be tight connections, waterproof, the whole 9 yards. So for this, since this is just a prototype, this is the wire that I've got right now, but it's going to be the same length, and the installation steps are all going to be the same. The only tools you're going to need is this that's included. It's just a fuse holder, and you're going to terminate this in. This is the only wiring you're really going to have to do yourself, and all you're going to do is squeeze a butt connector on this. The fuse is already installed. You need a wrench with a 10mm socket and a 12mm socket, and that is it. It's only 2 sockets you'll need. The 10mm for the battery, 12mm for your hood. And then you'll also need a snipper for your zip ties. So once we tie these on, I'm using blue just to kind of show you where they're at, but I'll include black zip ties with the kit. But the blue will just let you see them a bit easier on the car. You'll just need some scissors or some snips to cut off the end of those zip ties. So the very first thing you want to do, come into your car, is you want to pop the hood. So I've already gone inside and hit the hood release. So I'm just going to open that up here. And we're going to be taking off the striker plate here. So there's just two 12mm. Let me set this down. So we're going to use our 12mm socket. Pop these off. Make sure you don't drop these. It's a real pain to get out from under that splash guard on the bottom. So we'll set those right there. Got that off. Now all I'm going to do, just to make it a bit easier, is I'm going to take the kit, here's your light, and it's just going to bolt up right there. So I'm going to take this kit, throw my wires in. I'm just going to go ahead and mount it right on those bolts. That way it's hanging, and we've got our wires where we can reach them. I'll just snug it up for now. Now you've got your wires. So here's your harness. And this is what we're going to be fishing through our engine, or sorry, our hood. So there's a slot right here. Make sure you can see it. There's a slot right there to the right of the light. Be this one. I'm going to fish it through there. Once I fish it through there, there's a few big holes right here, so I'm going to push it to the right. Then it's going to pop out of here. I'm going to grab the wire and pull it through, push it back down, get it closer to here. And eventually, I don't know if you can see it, I'll use a flashlight. We're going to come out through that hole right there, this one. So basically, just coming through all the way down to the right. Let's get started. So I'm just going to shove this through. Feel around for it. There we go. So I'm going to pull it tight. Just being real gentle. You can feel sometimes the wire will snag a little bit. You just want to make sure you're not pulling it too hard, because you know the edges of this hood, they're just really thin sheet metal, and definitely don't want it to get nicked or anything like that. I'll push this down. Come right out of there. Right back through that same slot. So you come right here, We're basically just using these slots as like checkpoints for the most part. Not sure if you can see this too well. My flashlight's dead, but just right through here. Pull it through once more. And then one last fish through this big hole. And that's where we're gonna run our wire out. We'll just make sure we don't have too much tautness in it, but you do want it to be pretty tight. Got a nice bit of slack here. It's good. So now that we're here, I'm just gonna run it right along this hood bracket. We're gonna zip tie it there because there is a nice hole here. And I'll probably zip tie it just right here to this hole. So let me get you in close. We are gonna zip tie it. Flashlight. So now we're gonna zip tie it right here in this hole. From here to here. We're gonna zip tie it in this hole, the hood bracket, and then we're gonna run it to the battery. So I'll set that there. I'm gonna grab this, fish it through. Got our zip tie. Get that nice and tight. I'm gonna use my snips. Go ahead and cut that off. Run it up here. Give it enough slack here to make sure you're not bending it too awful much. Zip tie down through the bottom, because there's a lot of clearance around this hood arm. I'll just try and get the point of the zip tie in there. Snip. And now all we have to do really is run it straight to the battery. Just make sure it ends up a nice clean install. So go ahead and do that. I'm just gonna kind of tuck it in up under this plastic. And I will probably zip tie it, let's see, right about here. Yeah, but first I'm gonna go ahead and put on the fuse block. So this is just gonna slide in here and then you're gonna crimp it. So all you have to do, where's my crimping tool at? Basically take your wire and your butt connector on here, slide them in together, give it a twist, make sure it seats all the way up against there, and then just crimp it. This is a heat shrink butt connector that's going to be included, so you can use a lighter or maybe a heat gun if you have one to shrink this up. Now we're just going to use a 10mm socket to connect these. Alright, so we've got our battery here. There's a stud right here that I'm going to use. That is 10mm. Just gonna pop off that nut. All right, so that's loose. Pull it off. There's a nut, and I'll go ahead and land this ground before we zip tie our wires down. You definitely always want to do the ground first. All right. Got our ground. Just gotta tighten that back down. Kind of angle this so that it's going back towards the wall. I want this to be as hidden as possible. I'm just gonna tuck these wires down. Take the positive. Now we're just gonna pop off the positive cap here. And I'm going to pull off this here. we got our nut off. Now I'm just going to slide this over where that nut is, touch that back, connect this. Now this ring terminal that I have on this wire particularly, it's not what's going to be included. It's going to be a 1/4 inch. It's going to fit a lot better. It's going to slide right in that slot. We'll have no issues. This one's just a little bit larger than it should be, but just for the demonstration and to get an installation video out there, I just went ahead and threw this on. So tighten that back up. You're not going to go super tight here because this is really just a clamp. Go until you feel a good bit of resistance. That's tight. Put that back on. And we're just going to clean up our wires. So tuck my fuse back over here. The wires. There we go. We are all set. I'm just going to zip tie one wire here to make sure that this can't be pulled out. I'll tie it around this ground. And we'll snip that. And now we get to demonstrate. So this flight is actually fully installed. Make sure to snug these 2 bolts up top. Again, not super tight. And we've got light. So I have a nice lit up engine bay. So now the light is installed, we've got it working. Switch is right here, it's just one little push button. You can see, and you get a really good look at the top of the motor. So a lot easier to diagnose, issues on a roadside rather than pulling out a flashlight or using an iPhone camera, trying to wave that around and see what's going on. Or if you're at a car meet, you can get these in a few different colors. It'd be a great way to show off some bolt-ons. But it's a super easy, affordable install. Really nice panel here. It's nice and tough. And that's all there is to it. It's super easy install. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out. These are available at Cruiser Design and Manufacturing, starting to ship out on May 8th. Go ahead and turn that off, close the engine, and closes perfect. No problem.